Good morning. It's Tuesday. Bit different schedule this morning because I am off to a business conference rather than the office. I will be picking up a colleague, so I won't be recording with him in the car, but we'll record a bit on the way there. Continuing with our D&D101 series, I want to talk about ability scores. Now, ability scores are kind of the basic building blocks that are used to define your character's traits. What do I mean by this? These determine your physical and your mental capabilities as a character. Now, obviously in real life we don't have ability scores, but we do have ways of measuring ourselves. You know, he's a strong person, he can lift a lot. They're very nimble, very agile, very intelligent, quite wise, charismatic. These are exactly the same scores we use in Dungeons & Dragons. The only difference is we've broken them down into 6 key categories and assigned a number to them to make the game easier to play. So what are the Dungeons & Dragons ability scores? I'm going to try something new with my video, and I'm going to try to put something up along the side of the screen. If nothing appears there while I'm talking, then I have failed at video editing. The ability scores. Strength. Obviously, strength is your ability to lift, to carry. You're also talking about a world where combat exists, so it is also a modifier on how much damage you deal when you hit someone with a melee weapon. We'll define what a melee weapon is later on. Strength. Very self-explanatory. The skills, the ability scores normally, there are exceptions, normally range from 6 being very low, to 10 being average, to 18 being very good, and 20 being a maximum kind of, you are the pinnacle of perfection in whatever you are. Strength. Very easy. We all understand what strength is. How it affects other things. Strength is also used in association with some skills. Now, skills, and we'll get into more detail on them later on, are specific applications of kind of a combination of knowledge and ability, if that makes sense. So, for example, athletics. You can be proficient in athletics. You are a trained athlete. But if you're not very strong, you could be trained in it, but you're still not going to be great at it. However, if you're very strong and very well trained, that makes you dangerous. Next score. Dexterity. Dexterity is your nimbleness. It is your finesse. It is your manual dexterity. Your ability to work things with fine detail with your hands, or to somersault across a room. Dexterity affects skills like acrobatics, which is very different than athletics. Athletics could be weightlifting, or throwing a shot put, or a javelin. Acrobatics is walking a tightrope, or leaping a pit. That's your dexterity. Dexterity also does things like makes you harder to hit, because you're able to dodge out of the way. Dexterity also affects how well you work with ranged weapons, because you don't have to be that strong to fire a bow accurately. You have to be good with your hands. You have to have good hand-eye coordination. And that's what dexterity represents. The next, and the final of the physical abilities, is Constitution. Now, your Constitution is how well built you are. It determines things like bonus hit points. Obviously, we'll get into more detail on what hit points are later, but it determines your bonus hit points. It allows you to soak extra damage. It means that you are a more hardy individual. It also affects things like certain saving throws against diseases, because a more hardy person is going to fight off disease easier. And that's your Constitution. Now, I'm just pulling in to grab a bit of breakfast before I pick up my colleague. So we're going to end it at those three for now. We'll pick up the rest later on. Have a great day.